Believe it or not, I'm one of them guys that never played a Fatal Fury game in my life. I know it goes back to the Neo Geo era and later it found its way onto the PS2-ish type of era, but fighting games, One thing I always found myself enjoying though is a good old school fighting OVA. And the Fatal Fury franchise offered 2 OVAs and a movie, all firing consecutive years starting in 1992. The first Fatal Fury OVA, Legend of the Hungry Wolf, was based on the first game. It follows Terry and Andy, who return from a decade-long training arc in order to avenge the death of their father. It kicks off a backstory where they see the murder, and I found that to be pretty cool because I doubt you get this kind of inner look into these characters just playing the game, unless you read into some kind of encyclopedia or just look it up. Yeah, but Terry met a dude named Joe, who's a pretty notorious fighter around the world, who says he and his bro should sign up for the King of Fighters tournament. Really strong fighting anime here, where the story is basic and generic enough that you don't gotta think too hard to follow. But it doesn't necessarily make the experience sloggy, cause pretty much everything else about it is fun. Great art, animation, and Terry and them are brought into anime form splendidly. The second OVA, New Battle, adapts, you guessed it, the second game. Starts off regular. Actually, it seems like he's working some kind of a construction job, but this one is more of a spiritual journey for Terry as he loses a battle to a more formidable opponent. This sends him into a downward psychological spiral, into self-loathing, alcoholism, and he's left with the burden of performance to redeem himself. It's actually pretty sad and pathetic to see, especially with how much damn near arrogance this dude had initially at the beginning of the damn OVA. The main issue here is a noticeable drop in production quality. It just looks a little more washed out. By the way, I know I'm using VHS footage or whatever, but the quality that you're going to be seeing when you probably watch this is going to basically be in line with what I'm talking about, but this looks a little more washed out and it's not animated as well, especially if you watch these OVAs back to back. Jumps at you right away. As you continue watching, it gets better though. Holistically, this is my personal favorite of the 3 anime because I just felt it more. I feel like everybody can relate to losing confidence in something and maybe even burnout, to where you just say fuck it and you stop caring until you get slapped with a wake-up call that truly pushes you to your limits. But even other little things like Terry getting a young disciple by his side and the anticipation throughout the movie to the final showdown. Good job, man. I really enjoyed this thing. The motion picture is arguably the best of the 3 Fatal Fury anime in terms of production. This time, Andy and Terry are joined by others to stop Sulia's brother from collecting fragments that will reincarnate a vicious and dangerous god. It's not light years ahead of the other 2, but you know, it is the motion picture representation for the franchise, so motion picture cinematics and energy is expected. I will say I was driven the least by action in this one compared to the other 2. In fact, it just wasn't my favorite for personal taste reasons. I really am just an OVA type of dude. Another thing, I really enjoyed some of the traveling that they did, you know, Alexandria, Egypt, and there's a little bit of like ancient history, a little bit, you know, loosely tying in there, but yeah. The one thing you can count on when you watch this is 90s cheese. It's a great series of anime, especially being based on video game IP, and I have seen them countless times over the years, especially the OVAs, and I walk away with the same level of above average amusement and entertainment every time I watch them. I really enjoy the fights, the environments, and just looking at these characters and the way they are designed. It truly is the video games brought to life. Now, in terms of bringing life to the characters so you can see them beyond pixels that move around on a screen controlled by a wire coming out of a console, let's talk about it. I was blown away by how good these characters have been brought to reality in a sense. By the end of the first 2 OVAs, I actually felt like I had a connection and understanding of Terry specifically, and his brother too, but Terry specifically, where usually with these fighting games or fighting anime, the characters tend to just be hollow, and they're just visual aesthetics and utilities to amp up the dopamine of shonen age boys. Anyway, these anime hold up very well 30 plus years later, and I may actually enjoy this franchise of video game anime over Street Fighter. The choice is yours though. Let me know what you think. Like the video, comment down below what y'all want to see next. I'm out. Thanks for watching. anime back when.
Money orientated.